I wanted to just back up a little bit and just ask you another question, if you don't mind, about the Azov regiment, because outside of Ukraine, we get a lot of different sorts of information and reports. And like you said, there've been some reports that there was some indications of, I don't know, neo-Nazis or something, whatever that's supposed to mean. But I just thought that was very interesting that you said potentially, you know, some of those guys personally, or you'd had contact. And I was just wondering if you could say a little bit more about, you know, what the Azov regiment, you know, who they are, or if you have any kind of personal interactions or experience.
Well, why, for example, I'll explain the reasons, the most important, why Russian propaganda hates and pays so much attention exactly to Azov regiment since 2014. As I told you, so these are people soldiers, I mean, with the strongest will. They are patriots and they are volunteers. So in 2014, in spring, when Ukrainian army was in crucial state, to put it mildly, Azov regiment had the biggest successes, as I mentioned. It was organized in Mariupol, and they set free Mariupol in June 2014. They conquered so-called DNR troops there. They fled. Mostly they were criminals. I mean, in DNR troops, because Kremlin put a stake on criminals in 2014. The same was in Crimea. The head of it, Aksionov, is well-known criminal since 1990s with a long criminal background. And that's why they hated them so much. But you know how usually propaganda is made. There were, unfortunately, some cases. There were some criminals also in Azov regiment. Well, I can't say neo-Nazi. Well, maybe there were a few. Okay, I can admit I knew it myself, few. But for example, 2-3 ones out of 100, because at that time we were in crucial situation and we needed people who is ready to fight and to kill. The most important for me, for example, why didn't I join finally? Because my friends told me better not to, because well, for me was a problem because I'm civilian, you know, because it's a big psychological obstacle to kill people, especially those who you considered as brother people just few months ago. That's how, and it was Mariupol as well. But for that, since then, since 2014, all that people left Azov. It was cleared. It's already not a volunteer regiment. It is a part of National Guard of Ukraine. It is much more already. So, as I told you, they were given parades on Independence Day in Mariupol, and so there were no any criminal situation, nothing. They were safeguards of Mariupol. Unfortunately, people who watched this propaganda believed in it. And as I told you, they used some information about war crimes. But unfortunately, you know, during the war, things happen. And it is also true that were some cases that I'm not talking about Azov, but other regiments volunteer during first months. There were such cases when they robbed, for example, the population, civilians. But since then, since 8 years, all that people and regiments were clarified, and there are no such cases for a long time, in Mariupol particularly. So, but as I told you, because this regiment, particularly Azov, is the strongest one, the most, it was very well equipped and well trained. And the most important, why they have so many success, and even now for more than 50 days were being besieged without any supply, food supply, military supply, anything. They keep fighting because they have very strong will. They are true warriors, and it was elite regiment, and people who hated Russia came there, who were ready to fight until the last drop of their blood. I can maybe send you later. They are very important. They have an oath, special oath. If you just listen it's such an energy, strong energy. So that's why they hate them, and they understand that these people, they will not give up. As you know, latest news, Russian Ministry of Defense proposed them to give up, and so to say, to save their lives. But we know that pretty sure, I'm sure that they will kill them anyway. As it happened in 2014 in Ilovaisk, when also Minister of Defense of Russia promised to save lives if that encircled troops, also volunteers, give up. But they made so-called green corridor, and then they shut them all. Almost few even only managed to survive. And when I was reading and listening that stories, it was a horror, because when, like, you know, they were easy targets, just they could see faces of Russians when they started shooting them, killing them. It was, you know, one of the biggest tragedy in Russian-Ukrainian war of previous phase in 2015. So that's what they want to do in Mariupol with Azov regiment. They have, and they denied, of course. They denied it. It was not the first attempt, by the way, because Russians realized that it will take a lot of time to occupy or destroy even all what they can do, even as I told you, to drop that huge bombs or to use chemical weapons. Otherwise, for a long time, they can be there because, as I told you, it is fortified and there are huge underground tunnels where they are, and it's impossible to kill them just with usual weapons, what they're doing actually.
Well, thank you so much for clarifying, and I appreciate your insights today, and I look forward to talking to you again soon. Thanks, Maxim.